Hey friends and neighbors, it's Chuck out at Sheridan Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. Another beautiful late spring day here in the mountains of western North Carolina. We got a lot going on today. Gonna go back and talk a little bit about our garden. Done some garden stuff on our last video. I'm getting kind of excited about that. We're starting to see some stuff come on. We talked about expanding the garden. We got some new stuff going in today. So hang out, we'll show you all that. And I've got some brand new babies, brand new bird babies, not chickens, not geese, a couple other things. We'll go out to the brooder and take a look at that. And y'all, to my viewers, by the way, give me a thumbs up right quick. Don't cost anything, helps the videos out. Really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up. To my viewers, there is a mole. There's a snitch in the group. And we had a little bit of a disturbing thing happen this week. We had a viewer somewhere report us to a regulatory agency. So we'll tell you all about that and give you the insight on it. But anyway, hang out with us for a little bit. Let's get some work done. All right. Herbage. All right, y'all. So we got two more of these raised beds, and somebody went on a little shopping spree yesterday. So at our farmer's market that we go to down in Clemens, good friend of ours, Phil, he's always almost directly across from us, had a bunch of herbs yesterday. And what we decided was we got these two garden beds, and we're going to turn them into herb beds. So we got some fresh herbs for freeze dry, well, it's fresh herbs for the kitchen, or we can freeze dry some of them or whatever. And like I told y'all on the last video, I've been a little bit inspired by Andy over at True Grit, and also a good friend of ours, Donnie Carringer. He and his wife own Carringer Farms up in, where they at? Altamont?
Altamont.
Up near Crossnore. They're way up on the mountain. But he does a big garden, and he's all the time talking about his garden. So anyway, these boys have got me all tore up about doing some gardening. So I'll show you what we're going to do here in a few minutes. But first off, let's get these kind of planted and get them started. And I'll show you the rest of the garden, what we're doing out here with the new spot, and we'll see what else we get into today. I'll let you put them where you want to, and then I'll help get them started. How's that? You need to water these things in, you think?
Yeah, we'll water them down real good.
Now, are you putting it where you want it? Or are you just getting them out?
Well, the box is in the way right there.
Well, then there's that. Oops. What is all this here?
Oregano, parsley, and basil. I'm going to put the oregano in the other bed.
It goes over there. Okay. So this is going to be your basil and your parsley right here, right?
Yeah, and the other one's going to be oregano and cilantro.
Yeah. So what I done on these beds, we had a big bunch of wood chips out the end of the driveway. So we filled it up about 3/4 and then put some dirt in the bag. Dirt in the bag in these things to get them started. Look here, boy, look at the root systems on these.
That's good stuff.
Well, Phil, he does a good job.
This soil has already got some fertilizer in it.
That's what I thought, but I had to double check.
Here's a spade if you want it.
Nice.
But I come to ask you, some basil.
Is that you talking about around your tomato plants?
Well,
Yep.
Not right now, but I know later this year they'll be.
Yep, basil.
Usually I'll just pick them off and throw them to the chickens.
Yep. Put you some basil plants in amongst your tomatoes. That's why those 4 basil plants are over there in the middle of those tomatoes.
Yeah, I ain't never had no problems with hornworms.
Not with basil.
It really helps.
Really helps.
I ain't never had no luck starting basil, but I had fairly decent luck keeping it alive. But if y'all need some cilantro, I can start you some cilantro. That ain't no big deal.
I'll probably just buy some plants since it's so late in the season. And we'll have to keep it shaded, I think. I need to read up on it. Yeah.
All right, so come in and just sort of healed up around the tomato plants. I pulled the lower limbs off of them, or the lower leaves off of them the other day, and healed up a little bit around them. I didn't do a very good job. I didn't have a good hoe with me. So I've healed up around them. If you'll notice at the bottom of your tomato plants, they look kind of hairy. Those are all potential roots. And so what we do is we just kind of heal up around them, try to get a good root stand. I need to go out to the sawmill. Sandra wants me to cut her some tomato steaks. And we've done this before, we're gonna do the Florida weave on these, but we need some steaks in the middle to give a little bit of support. And I just need to go out there and cut them. But for right now, I think we're in pretty good shape. Weeds really started to pop up. We've had a lot of rain lately, and had a real pretty day yesterday afternoon. And it's turned out to be nice today, but get these warm sunny days after a rain and the vegetables will take off, but so do those weeds, and you got to stay after them. Just one thing after another. And our second planting of green beans is coming on pretty good. These were planted, Sandra, when did we plant these?
A week and a half ago.
Was it a week and a half? No, we planted them on a Sunday.
A week ago.
Planted them a week ago, yeah. So we planted these beans, these green beans right here, these 2 rows, planted them a week ago, and they have really come on strong, and they're looking good. And then next to them, these are all beans that we planted about 3 weeks ago. Well, it'd be 4 weeks now, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, about 4 weeks ago. So these are a little bit ahead. We done that on purpose so that we could have beans coming in at a couple different times. But last year, I don't know if y'all remember, we tried planting some beans out here last year, and in this corner, we couldn't get anything to grow because this compost that we had bought was pretty hot, and I think it was still cooking, and it just wasn't doing much. But man, it's doing better this year. And I will admit, I did throw a little bit of, I found some organic fertilizer at Lowe's. I did put a little bit of organic fertilizer on them. I forget the name of it. I'll find the name of it and tell y'all. But I did put a little bit of organic fertilizer on it to get stuff to grow, because these beans, I want them to do good, and I don't want to just grow vine. I want to actually get some beans off of them this year, and do a little bit of canning, whatever. And we ordered some new beans this morning. Some, what do they call, Supremos?
October beans.
October beans, Supremo. They got a couple different names.
That's Andy's fault.
Yeah, that's Andy's fault. He done that to me. So I ordered some of them this morning, and we'll get them in the ground, and they're about 70, 75 days. So we plant them 1st of June. They'll be ready middle of August, and we'll put them up. More like a pinto bean. So, but anyway, little garden's coming along pretty good. Let me show y'all what I'm doing. Like I said last time, these boys got me fired up about gardening, and I said I was going to expand my garden. So let me show y'all what we're going to do with the garden here. So this is the same setup that I used to get that garden up there started winter before last. And what we've done is we've taken a great big silage, can't even talk, great big silage tarp, put it down. Then I've got an old billboard tarp back here, put them down, and we've got some pallets and lumber and stuff laying on it. And what we're doing is I'm trying to kill the grass under this. And I'm a little odd, I guess. We follow a lot of stuff that Charles Dowding does. He's over in England, and he's no-till. And I like the idea of no-till and not not tilling the ground and breaking the soil up and not killing the microbes and all that kind of thing. I mean, that's just me. But what we done, put this tarp down, kill all the grass, and then we'll come in with a nice thick layer of cardboard, something that'll compost and decompose down into the ground. And then we come back on top and put composted material in, and that's our base for planting our garden. Now, it works pretty good because it's real easy to keep the weeds out of it. It's not bad at all to keep the weeds out. But the downside to that, and it's usually very fertile, you've got to refeed it. And I need to build a compost bin over here, but you need to refeed it with compost ever so often and keep the biology of the soil going. But the downside is you really can't plant much of anything that needs a deep taproot. Onions, carrots, corn, something like that needs a good deep taproot, because you've got that cardboard really acts like compaction, and so your stuff ends up, at least for the first little while, with a fairly shallow root system. Over time, all that cardboard will break down, and you can start getting deeper taproots on stuff. But for the first year, you've got kind of a shallow depth to plant in. And last year we done pretty good. I mean, our tomatoes done good last year. What else done real good for us last year? Whistle britches. Tomatoes done good.
Tomatoes and lettuces and
Yeah.
Zucchini and squash and cucumbers. They did real well.
Yeah. Yeah, so all that stuff done pretty good. But I've got this laid out. This will stay, for a while. I did put it black side up because I want it to get good and hot, and that'll help kill some of the grasses under it too. But this is the start of another garden space like that over there. It's about the same size. It ended up being just a little bit longer, but that's fine. That ain't no big deal. And then I've also ordered some grapevines. And so here between this garden and that garden, I mean, it's all one garden, but this garden spot and that garden spot, I'm gonna put me some grapevines between the two right here, and we'll eventually build an arbor or a trellis or something like that. But growing up, my grandparents had these Concord grapes, and they were along the edge of the yard between the house and the garden. And in August and September, you go up there and crawl up and under that thing and just sit there and eat till you got yourself sick. So I want some, want to get some grapes going. And I also ordered some raspberry vines, and we'll put them over there on the other side of this one. So we'll have garden fruit, and hopefully we'll get some stuff growing out here that you can just come out here and have a snack in the yard. So otherwise, about to give up on this garlic. I don't think it's going to do much. It's sort of faded out. This little lettuce bed right here. So my grandmother came down last week, and I gave both of them do what?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day, yeah. I gave both of them a bag of lettuce, and then we picked 3 pounds, a little over 3 pounds.
Yep, almost 4.
A little over 3 pounds, almost 4 pounds of lettuce, and took to the farmer's market and gave one away, gave a couple away, sold one. I mean, this is a whole, and lettuce is like this. After you pick it off, in a couple days, you won't even be able to tell you got any off of that thing. And I mean, it just, until it gets so hot that it can't grow, we'll eat off of that. Like I say, green beans are coming in, doing good. My tomato plants. How many tomato plants you say you got in here? About 40?
40.
What are you pulling up there?
Beets.
Bring one of them up here and show them. Y'all look at these beets. You started these in the house, didn't you?
Yeah.
So Sandra started these in the house.
February.
In February. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Big old thing.
I'll be stewing some of these out a while.
Stewed beets. All right then. Peas. So there's 2 different plantings of peas. How far apart were these? About 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3 or 4, I think.
Peas. Had a customer asking us about peas yesterday at the market. The problem with peas around here is they're sort of a cooler weather plant. And when you plant them, around here, our last frost is, what is it, April 15?
Yeah.
April 15, but by May the 5th, it can be 90 degrees So we got this big fluctuation. But the peas are doing pretty good. We've got a bunch of pods on these things. They're not filling out very much yet. But boy, we've got, I mean, look at that. It's
The
loaded.
bottom ones are starting to fill out.
Loaded, yeah, they're loaded, ain't they? Absolutely loaded with pods. So we'll see how they end up doing. This bunch back here, that looks kind of straggly, don't it?
Well, that's because they're so far behind.
Yeah.
And it's hotter, so
Yeah.
they're not doing as good.
They're not doing as good.
Look at that.
That's a mess of beets, ain't it?
Is that pretty?
I'm not a beet fan. Do you know my brother loves beets?
Really?
Pickled beets. Growing up, he would sit down with a jar of pickled beets and would go until he was purple. I mean, all over his face.
Cyanotic.
And just eat them all. I mean, he loved pickled beets.
I like them too.
I ain't much about them, but anyway. Peas are doing good. Rhubarb. Had a customer ask us about rhubarb yesterday. So these are our rhubarb plants. I got one right here. This is an old molassy lick tub. And got another big molassy lick tub down there that were empty. Sandra got her some rhubarb started. And the thing about rhubarb is you don't mess with it that first year, do you?
Don't mess with it the first year. Needs to establish the taproot real good.
So we've got them going. We're probably going, are we going to need to transplant those?
No.
I can't imagine. Will that stay in that thing?
Oh yeah. If you transplant it, take over his whole garden.
Well, I remember when I was small, Granny had 3 or 4 of these rhubarb plants like that, and those things were as big as a hood on a 1971 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. I mean,
Monsters.
they were measured in acres, not in square feet. But anyway,
That's why those are in tubs, is to keep
try to
control
keep
of them.
control of them. But I like rhubarb. We've done you've done all kinds of strawberry rhubarb jelly.
Yeah. Pies, cakes, dumplings, cobblers, just anything.
Yeah. Bless you. So that's our rhubarb. Onions here, they're coming on, doing pretty good. Somebody asked me if we're going to have spring onions. I'd really like to grow these out and get those big chunky bulbs for so we can have some this winter. Carrots over there, got another beet or two. Carrots over there, got a few onions in that bed. And peppers here, got something, looks like I've been eating the dickens out of this pepper. That sucker's about gone. Little tomato plant in there. Eggplant, and then peppers.
Eggplant's getting eat up by some critter.
Yeah, something is munching on that, ain't it?
Eggplant's hard to keep around here.
Another lettuce bed, we picked a bunch off it the other day, and then my potatoes in that raised bed right there. They're we had a heavy rain yesterday, night before, and kind of beat them down, so they're not looking too good. And that right back there, that's another little bed of garlic, and it ain't doing much pumpkin either, so may have to try something different on garlic. And then we got our herbs in those 2 little beds back there behind the greenhouse. So that's the garden coming along. This is kind of, well, I mean, we done a garden in 2020, wasn't it? And those old cheap raised beds out of non-pressure treated material that we built down there in Greensboro, and that was the best garden we ever had, wasn't it?
Yep.
So I guess that's our measuring stick to try to live back up to. But garden's not something we do a whole lot of regular, is it?
No. It's kind of down on the to-do list when things get real busy.
Yeah, got so much other stuff going on. So, but proud of it so far. Looking good, coming along, and we'll see if we can get another one going here for them. Well, you want to show them what your new babies are?
Yeah.
Lift your lid up there and I'll prop it for you. My goodness.
There's 2 different types of critters in here.
Well, the one has integrated with the rest of them right there, ain't he? And you got this other oddball over here.
Over here by itself.
So this is Tell them what that is there, baby.
That is a bourbon red turkey.
That is a bourbon red turkey. And then this is another bourbon red turkey. That guy right there. And then the rest of them, y'all, you think them geese are loud?
They ain't got nothing on them guineas.
We have guineas. Baby guineas. So the baby guineas came in the mail. When did the baby
Wednesday
guinea?
morning, Thursday morning.
3 or 4 days ago. And the turkeys, we hatched the turkeys from some fertile eggs.
And just judging by the size of them too,
Yeah.
I think I've got one of each.
You think you got one of each?
I hope so.
Well, I do too. That'd be nice.
We won 5 hatching eggs, bourbon red hatching eggs at an auction the other night. Well, 28 days ago.
Yeah.
And 2 of them hatched.
Yeah. So, got a couple turkeys. And then, how many guineas was there? 16?
16.
16.
Let's get away from them so they won't
yeah, they're
ball
piling.
up so
Yeah,
bad.
16 guineas and 2 turkeys. And then over here, about time for these to come out, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
You reckon we put them in with them ducks?
I need to get these. They're piling too bad.
So you reckon these guys, we need to unplug them lights.
Okay.
You reckon they could come out and go with them ducks sometime?
Yeah.
We might
You
move
can do it
them.
right now if you want to.
You want to do that?
Sure.
Huh? Got it. Stupid goose. We're going to shut that lid. How you reckon this is going to go?
I guess we'll find out. Maggie, stop.
They're about the same size as them ducks, ain't they?
Yeah.
Y'all say hello to your new roommates. Them ducks about full grown, ain't they?
They're getting closer. I think we're 2 and 3.
2 males and 3 females.
I'm hoping.
Well, they look good, don't they?
They look really good.
Yeah.
Don't y'all come
All right.
out of there now.
Let's close them up here. So them little ones, you gonna leave them down there or you gonna bring them up here?
No, we'll bring them up here.
Bring them up here too? All right. Can you turn this thing around and point it at the door? For when we put them in here? Well, we'll see how this goes.
Them ducks are saying, y'all the funniest looking ducks I ever seen.
Ugly ducklings.
And then the geese are saying, y'all the funniest looking geese we ever seen.
Yeah. Well, there they are. Waterfowl.
We'll let everybody get acquainted and give them about a week. Then I might let them out one day
Yeah.
and just stay down here with them.
Let them come
let
down.
them get in the creek
Let them get in the creek.
and then teach them how to go back to bed.
Buck, come on. You don't need to be in the creek. You're too small for that. You'll get washed away. Turtle eat you. So you want to talk about why we ended up with a bunch of guineas?
Well, back in the early spring, I noticed the dogs had a bunch of ticks on them. And then about, what was it, last week? 2 weeks ago?
Last week before.
We were feeding chickens and moving chickens and doing a few things, and I walked through some kind of tall grass and came back and sat down in the buggy.
You've been goose pooped.
Oh, that's all right. How many deer ticks you reckon I had on my pants?
If you didn't have 75 or 100, you didn't have a one on you.
So I ordered guineas that night
Yeah.
because guineas are really good at eating ticks.
And they're good guard animals.
And they're very good guard animals. So
Door alarms.
So here we go with something else.
Just one more thing.
Just one more thing. Just right beside each pepper.
All right.
Right real close.
Right real close. Okay. See if that's close enough.
Oh.
Is it?
Maybe a little closer. No, that's probably good.
Is that okay?
Let's try it and see. Yeah.
Too close?
Nope.
I think you were being too aggressive. You have anger issues?
Maybe.
You mad? You mad, bro? So Sonner found this little thing on Amazon last year, and I'll leave a link to it in the description. It's called a tape tool. And what you use it for is you can use it to help tie up your tomato plants, pepper plants, anything that you need. And it just puts a little piece of tape around the plant and your stake, and it holds it upright. And the way this deal works, I think you can see it. Push it in, grabs your tape, pulls it out, and then you go around your stake and your plant, and then hit it again, and it will staple it. Like that. And that just holds your plants upright. So it's a pretty handy little tool. Somebody was trying to use them a minute ago and was getting very aggressive with it. And it wasn't working right. And I told her, honey, you've got to just slow down. You've got anger issues or something.
This is what gives me the anger issues.
And it's working, but it works fine. I mean, it's just, it is Chinesium.
It's just a little, yeah.
But it works, It's quicker than getting strings and all. There you go. Goose poop britches. Working fine now, ain't it?
Now, am I being gentle enough with it for you?
You're better, but it works fine now that,
Now that I'm being easy?
Well, now that somebody showed you how to use it.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Nice.
All right, there they are. There's a volunteer tomato.
I saw that. Saw that a minute ago. Little guy's coming up there. All right, we done out here?
Yeah.
Good deal.
Well, time for a Zyrtec.
I think I need a Zyrtec or something.
Hello, crazy.
I have a very unhealthy codependency with Gatorade.
Yeah, you need to go back to straight water.
I do need to go back to drinking straight water.
I don't know. We got the best water in the country out here. I don't know why you won't drink it.
Well, I don't know why we're buying it in bottles either.
Convenience. It's a world of convenience.
So, we wanted to share a little experience that we had over the past week. and we're not real sure how to decipher it. The problem that it caused is a curse, but the way in which we've gotten there to that curse is a blessing. Is that a fair way to?
I don't know that I would say it's a curse. It's a
Inconvenience. Very huge inconvenience.
But when you have this type of inconvenience, and we talked about this the other day, you know that you're on the map.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know that you've arrived.
I guess so. So the other day, Sandra and I were at a farmer's market, and we got a phone call from let's just call it a regulatory authoritative body. Is that fair? I don't want to give away too much.
Okay.
We got a phone call from a regulatory authority.
Inspector.
It was an inspector. An inspector who had come by the farm. We were not here. Who came by the farm, and what was it he said to you?
He said, I'm here to do an inspection, and the gate's closed.
That's right. Because we'd had the cows out near the end of the road, and we used to close the gate when they're out there at the end of the road.
Well, let's tell the whole truth now.
What are you talking about?
There's one out.
Well, yeah, we'd had one out that morning. But the gate was closed, and he called and said he was here doing an inspection. The gate was closed.
Won't know if anybody was here.
Yeah, and we were not. There was nobody here. We wasn't here. Jacob wasn't here. Brittany wasn't. There wasn't nobody here.
That was his question. He said, you mean there's nobody here? And I said, no, nobody there. I said, but the gate's unlocked. Just go on in. Do whatever you need to do. You know where everything's at?
Because he'd been here before.
Yeah.
He'd been here before.
He'd been here before multiple occasions.
Like on a pre-inspection kind of thing.
On a normal, every
scheduled
year, scheduled kind of thing.
So this was completely unscheduled, unplanned.
This was a spot inspection.
Spot inspection.
Yes. Unannounced.
So he came in, and like I said, we were at the market, and so we were just busy selling, taking care of customers. And so he came in, and then he called back about, 30, 45 minutes later?
I know, it's about 15 minutes
About 15 minutes later. And told you that
everything looked good.
Everything looked good. Everything was fine. And so then we got to question him a little bit about, what the complaint was about, and he told us the specifics of the complaint. And I'm not going to share those. I'm not going to open that door. But he shared with us the specifics of the complaint. He came in and looked at all of the parts and pieces and things that complaint surrounded, and he said,
you're good to go.
You're good to go. Everything was fine. We did have a couple of reports that we had not submitted that we needed to submit, but that was no big deal. That was simply
Well, those were yearly production reports.
Yeah, I mean it was just an oversight on our part. There was nothing.
Well, and they weren't overdue. When he comes and does his normal yearly inspections, he asks for those reports.
Right.
And so since this was a spot inspection, I didn't have them ready. So 2 days later, I sent them to you.
So we had to get those two. But here's the interesting part, and this is it. And again, it's kind of disturbing, but at the same time, it's affirming in a way. When Sandra asked him where the complaint came, well, first off, he said, "Have y'all had anybody that you've had to fire or get rid of, or anybody that works for you that may be disgruntled?" No, nobody. And then you kind of ask a couple more questions.
Yeah, I said. He said, "Have you had any problems with employees or part-time people or anybody that's helped you do anything on the farm lately?" And I said, "No." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, we've had a complaint." I said, "Okay." And he said, "But everything checks out fine. We're just wondering if you would know why you would be reported. Somebody would report you." And I said, "No, I don't really have any idea." And he just kind of giggled into the phone, and I said, well, I'll think about it, and I'll get Chuck to think about it, and we'll get back to you. And he said, no, you don't have to. I was just wondering why something like this would come in. And about that time, it dawned on me. I said, somebody might have seen something on the video. And he started laughing.
Yep.
And sure enough, somebody had seen something on a video, I guess, that they didn't like the look of. So we got called in on.
By a viewer.
To the state by a viewer.
By a viewer.
And we have no idea where that viewer is at.
None at all.
None at all. Don't know if they're next door. Don't know if they're in the next state. Don't know if they're in the next country.
No idea.
No idea.
So one other thing that we've talked about, that where this might have come from, we were able to get our Facebook page monetized about a year ago. And after getting our Facebook page monetized, we've teamed up with a company that will take our YouTube videos and will carve out small snippets and turn those into, they'll take a 30-minute video and turn it into a 1 minute or a 3-minute short or reel or whatever it's called over there on that platform, and we'll post it. And we post a video on Facebook every day. I mean, that company posts a video for us about every day. And I looked, and over the past 7 days, we've had a little over 5 million views on videos on Facebook alone. And the only thing that I can sort of tease out, I guess, is that there was something that was shown in one of those videos that the portion that was shown maybe was taken out of context and somebody didn't have maybe all the information.
Yeah.
That's
they just saw a snippet of a video instead of an entire story.
And knowing the whole thing. And so that's the only thing that I can think of. But it's, like I said, it's an inconvenience to have to go through that. And it was a little stressful there for a day or two till everything, we kind of decided, well, everything's fine. But it also shows how blessed we are to have viewers that care enough about us to make sure that we're doing things right. But the thing, I believe the thing I wanted to say here is, we are very careful. We know that we're in the public eye. We know that, these videos are watched by a lot of people, and we know that not everybody may agree with or like or appreciate what we do, and that's all well, fine, and good. But we've talked about it, and we're going to be a little bit more careful and a little bit more, I guess, judicious in some of the things that we show and do on some of the videos. So y'all may see a little bit of change in the content. I don't think it'll be much.
I wouldn't worry about it
But
too much.
But there'll be a few things that we've traditionally shown in the past that I probably just won't show anymore.
Well, and I told the inspector, and I were talking about it, and I told him, I said, you know how we are. We're an open book around here.
Yeah.
We weren't here, and I told you to go on in and do whatever you needed to do and look at whatever you wanted to look at, and I'd do it again tomorrow because we have nothing to hide.
Yep. So I don't know if whoever made that call is watching this video or not, or if they'll ever see this. I doubt it. Have no way of knowing, but just want y'all to know that we really do try to. we do appreciate it. We appreciate you watching, but we really do try to do things right, do things above board. Do we make mistakes? Of course we do. Everybody does. But we try really hard to do things right and be above board and produce a good product and be profitable in it. And it's just, I guess that's part of the deal that goes along with people. A lot of people watching is you never know.
A cobweb. Yeah, you never know.
Never know. Anyway.
We need to go over here and do a little bit of spot welding.
Weld on your britches?
Yeah, I've got a clip here. It's lost its end.
Lost its clip. Britches won't stay up. You need to wash them. You got goose poop all over.
Well, goes along with the territory.
All right, we're going to wrap this thing up right quick, but I want to show y'all something. That hoe that I was using out there in the garden a while ago, I told y'all it was a little rough on hands. It's been laying around somewhere for a while. So I've been in here working on this thing. I came up here this afternoon, took a wire wheel, cleaned the head of that thing up, took a file, I don't know if you can tell or not, took a file and sharpened it, and I painted over it. And on my handle, I've sanded on that. I used 60 grit and then some 180 grit on that. So I will go back and do some boiled linseed oil on that. I'm waiting on this to dry so I can put another coat on it. I just got the first thing I found. I found some high heat, like paint for a grill or a wood stove or something like that. Found that hiding back there in on the cabinet. So, but anyway, working on my hoe. All right, there it is. Got some new stuff in the garden. Got those new guinea babies, new turkeys. We got those geese. Stupid geese. Got those geese out in the tractor with our chickens, or with our chickens. Good Lord, with our ducks. We got all of our waterfowl together. So we'll see how they'll do. And like Sandra said, we'll come out in a couple days and maybe let those ducks out and see if they'll go down to the creek and swim around the creek a little bit. We'll keep their feed and water in that tractor. Once they learn where their feed and water is, that's kind of home base for them. So they'll go back to that. And you can kind of train ducks to go in at night. So we'll work on that a little bit too. But a lot going on. I know we've not done any real, what a lot of people watch us for, pigs, chickens, cattle. Of course, y'all know we don't have any pigs right now. We've sold all of those. We're buying market-ready pigs from a couple different places and folks that are growing animals like we do. And it's a matter of economics for us and what makes sense for us in our context. And so we're changing some stuff up, and it's just, it's just the natural progression and evolution of a farm and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I want to get back, finish this up. I don't want people saying that I keep, useless dirty hose around. And so we'll get this thing finished up so we can use it in the garden. Like we always say, please keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families. And we'll see you on the next video.